Not in Room 204 by Shannon Riggs. On the first day of school, Mrs. Salvador said, "At home, when your parents tell you to clean your rooms, you might shove dirty socks under the bed and heap toys in the closet, and you might get away with it." The children in room 204 smiled secret smiles. But not in room 204. Here we keep our desks neat. Some of the children fidgeted, but Regina Lillian Hadwig sat up straight and tall. "In other places you might get away with less than your best," Mrs. Salvador said, "but not in room 204. Jack Galvin and Trevor Jensen smirked. "In room 204, if you turn in work that isn't your best, I'll give it right back to you and you'll have to do it over." Jack whispered, "I think I'll move my desk into the hall." Mrs. Salvador heard. "Mr. Galvin, you might get away with whispering wise cracks to your neighbor in other classrooms, but not in room 204. In other places," she continued, "you might get away with name calling. You might even call someone stupid or dumb. Not in room 204. In room 204, no one is stupid. I've seen your report cards last year. I know." Mrs. Salvador folded her hands neatly behind her back. In October, in room 204, Amanda Zadowski ate Brenda Levitt's Halloween candy without asking. Mrs. Salvador sent a note home to Amanda's mother. "Dear Mrs. Zadowski, today Amanda ate a bar that did not belong to her. I have asked her to replace it tomorrow, please. In room 204, we do not take what does not belong to us. Sincerely, Mrs. Salvador." In November, the class went on a field trip to the aquarium. Just loud enough for everyone to hear, Melanie Dixon said that the tour guide looked like a whale. Regina Lillian Hadwig shook her head with disapproval. Mrs. Salvador said, "Miss Dixon, classes get away with making rude remarks, not the students in room 204. The students in room 204 show respect. Please apologize, and then you will be my partner for the rest of the day." Mrs. Salvador led Melanie to the front of the line. Report card conferences were at the end of the term. Regina Lillian Hadwig took a seat behind or beside her mother. "Regina, I am very pleased with all of your written work. You always do your best. You are a very bright girl," Mrs. Salvador said. She cocked her head to one side and pursed her lips the way she did when she was grading papers at her desk and thought no one was looking. Regina Lillian Hadwig has always been looking. "Are you quiet at home like you are in school?" Mrs. Salvador asked. Regina Lillian Hadwig thought of the many ways she kept quiet. Reading, playing. There were things her father did that Regina Lillian Hadwig kept so quiet, not even her mother knew. Yes, Regina Lillian Hadwig told Mrs. Salvador, "I am quiet at home too." Mrs. Salvador nodded. "Maybe this is something we could work on," she said. On the last day of school before winter vacation, the class had a party in room 204. Regina Lillian Hadwig did not want to be away from room 204 for 3 whole weeks. When the bell rang, most of the children rushed out, but Regina Lillian Hadwig lagged behind. "I'll help you erase the boards," she offered. "Aren't you eager to start your vacation?" Mrs. Salvador asked. "No," Regina said. When all the boards were clean, Regina walked slowly. In January, after 3 days of bitter cold and indoor recess, Jack and Trevor had a fist fight. Mrs. Salvador pulled them apart and stood between them. "In room 204, we keep our bodies to ourselves," she said. Regina Lillian Hadwig liked the rules of 204 very much. In February, Mrs. Salvador read a book about stranger danger, the same lesson they had heard every year since kindergarten. Don't talk to strangers. The children in room 204 slouched in their seats. Don't get in a car with someone you don't know. A stranger should not touch you anywhere a bathing suit covers. They'd heard it all before. "I want to talk to you about something else." Mrs. Salvador closed the book and continued. "Knowing about stranger danger is important, but it's not always strangers who touch children in ways they shouldn't be touched. Usually, it's someone the child knows." The children in room 204 sat up straight. It could be a friend, a babysitter, or someone in your own family. It happens more than most people think. Regina Lillian Hadwig felt very small and far away. Amanda raised her hand. "Has it ever happened to a child in this school?" "Yes, more than one." "Has it ever happened to a child in your class?" Regina Lillian Hadwig stared at the clock. She watched the second hand click through its slow circle. "Private things. But I can tell you this. If someone told me this happened to them, I know exactly what to do to help." The next day, Regina Lillian Hadwig walked to school early in the rain. She waited for Mrs. Salvador to make her way to the office and then to the classroom. Finally, she arrived. She was carrying an overstuffed tote bag, a lunch sack, some mail, a soggy raincoat, and a drippy umbrella. Regina took a deep breath. "You're an early bird. Come help me take the chairs down." Mrs. Salvador cocked her head to one side and pursed her lips. "Is there something you want to talk about?" Quiet Regina Lillian Hadwig's voice sounded small in empty room 204. "You know how yesterday you said you knew exactly what to do for a child who—" "Yes," Mrs. Salvador said. Her brown eyes were very kind. "Do you think you could help me like that?" "Yes. Has someone touched you in ways that they shouldn't?" Regina Lillian Hadwig nodded. She looked away, and then she looked back. Mrs. Salvador squeezed her hand. "You are very brave to tell me. I know exactly what to do." Regina Lillian Hadwig looked around room 204. Soon the other children would arrive, and a new day in room 204 would begin. "Good," she said. "Let's take down the chairs." The subject remains taboo. In order to overcome the problem of childhood sexual abuse, We must start talking about it in meaningful ways. An important fact that's often ignored is that the vast majority of childhood sexual abuse is perpetrated not by strangers, but by family members and other trusted adults. All adults must learn to prevent, recognize, and react responsibly to the epidemic of child sexual abuse. Please, for help, contact the Child Help USA National Child Abuse Hotline, 1-800-422-4453.